leaf fall is very common in case of phosphorus deficiency, and dormancy will be prolonged. So dormancy breaking will not be there. The next important one is sulfur, and sulfur is known to you by the taste. Many of you have tested the onion and garlic, and that characteristic smell of onion and garlic is because of the sulfur. It is available from the soil in the form of calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, aluminum sulfate, and as we discussed, the characteristic smell of garlic and onion is because of this sulfur. Further, it is associated with the membrane lipid, and further transportation of the molecules. Transport protein is there, and that transport protein is also containing sulfur. It is associated with amino acids like methionine or like cysteine. One can see very well. It is constituent of some vitamins also like biotin, thiamine. It is associated with some coenzyme like acetyl coenzyme A, and acetyl coenzyme A is very essential for the carbon metabolism. We know very well. Now, because it is associated with so many things, the deficiency is again causing lot of problem. The first and foremost symptoms will be seen in the leaf. Leaf becomes small, or it will not grow, and if it is growing, it will become yellowish because of the reduction in the chlorophyll content, and it become light green in color. Then one can see the photographic presentation. In the early deficiency, slowly greenish part is becoming less and less. The another symptoms will be stunted growth, that is there. Chlorosis will be there. Fruit formation will be reduced. Very poor growth of the fruit will be there. Then we are moving toward the next, that is potassium, symbolized by K. Now it is a universal cation, whether it is our body or whether it is bacteria, microorganism or plant. It is universal cation which is essential for ionic balance. So the first role is ionic balance. It regulates the turgidity of the cell, and you know turgidity is very important for opening and closing of the stomata. Then slipping movement of the leaf will be maintained with the help of potassium. It is activating certain enzyme which is essential for respiration, photosynthesis, and synthesis of chlorophyll also. Now the deficiency will lead to the mottled chlorosis in the leaf. Mottled means a kind of crumples will be there, which is followed by necrosis, means tissue will be damaged. So initially it will be chlorosis followed by necrosis in the leaf. One can see the stunted growth and situation in the photographic condition. Here one can see the normal one, and other are because of the deficiency, right? Because of the ionic imbalance, the leaf tip will not get enough turgor pressure, and when turgor pressure is not enough, tip and margin will start retardation of the growth. Then margin will come scorched and leaf will start curling, and leaf will curl ultimately reduce the photosynthesis. Next we are moving towards the boron. If you are recalling, it is absorbed neutrally, right? Now boron is antagonist to the uptake of potassium. If boron is there in huge amount, it will not allow the uptake of potassium in huge quantity, so that it will become toxic. You know very well, it is being a cation, potassium being cation will be absorbed easily, but it will be checked or it will be stopped by boron, right? Their biological function is it helps in the reproductive structure, growth of reproductive structure in bryophyte like Merkensia, and it is very essential for germination of pollen tube. When you do the experiment of germination of pollen tube germination, we are adding a pinch of boron, and that pinch of boron is added because it is essential for pollen tube germination. Without that, it will not germinate. Further, it is helping in the translocation of the sugar in the phloem. The sugar translocation from the leaf to the root and other part is possible because of the presence of boron. Right? Then that deficiency will lead to the death of apical part. Apical part will not get enough sugar, and when sugar is not there, death will be there. Then one can see the crumpling and death of apical part. Then certain disease will be immediately applied, showing the deficiency of boron, that is hard root of sugar beet, then browning of cauliflower. You may have seen this kind of symptoms when we purchase from the market, but generally we don't know the scientific basis of the disease, and this is not because of any insect or organism, but this browning is because of the deficiency of boron. Then top sickness of tobacco, which is one of the diseases in the tobacco cultivation. Then there will be less production of flour, and because of less production of flour, automatically fruit production will be less, and one can see that there is less production of seeds which is there. Then if along with the flour deficiency or the decrease of the flour production, certain tillering, cutting, brittleness, likewise other symptoms will be there with the boron. The next we are moving toward is the calcium. Now our body is of course requiring calcium, but it is in plant it is used as signaling mechanism of the environmental stress. When environmental stress is there, immediately the signals will be given by calcium, and this environmental stress signal will help to the plant in various way. There is a calcium pump in the human body also, and even in the plant, and this calcium pump is helping in the transportation of lot many other minerals, lot many other components. It is associated with ATP, it is associated with transportation in chloroplast, mitochondria, central vacuole, Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum, and so on. The strength of the wood is because of the cell wall, and this cell wall is having a cementing material of calcium pactate. So it is playing major role in giving strength to the plant. Further, it is associated with the formation of lecithin complex in the plasma membrane. Even it is stored in the form of calcium oxalate crystals, and this calcium oxalate crystals are helping in the protection of the plant against the animal by grazing. Elephantus scaber is one plant commonly known as suran in Gujarati. It cannot be eaten in the raw form, otherwise there will be damage to the tongue and mouth because of the presence of calcium oxalate. It is a kind of mechanism to give protection against the animal. Now the calcium deficiency is leading to the chlorosis at the margin of the leaves because it is immobile. So margin will show the first deficiency. Leaves will be curled in appearance because strength is lost. Pedicel and petiole will be collapsed due to the deficiency of calcium. Root development will be poor, and ultimately the poor root development will lead to poor absorption of water and other minerals, which is completely harmful. Then the next important molecule or the element is the magnesium, and this magnesium is having a biological role which is very essential as a structural component of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is having a phytyl chain and pyrrole ring, and amongst the phytyl chain and pyrrole ring, the central molecule, that is magnesium, and without that chlorophyll will not be there, and without chlorophyll plant cannot survive, and if plant is not surviving, there will not be life on earth. It is having another important role, that is integrity of ribosome, and ribosome is very essential for synthesis of protein, right? It is further associated with synthesis of ATP enzymes. It is activator of RNA polymerases, DNA polymerase, and protein synthesis. Because of their essential role, their efficiency is leading to the vein chlorosis. Rest of the part, cell part, will be having chlorophyll, but it will be seen very well that the vein part will lose the chlorophyll because it is immobile. This chlorosis is further followed by necrosis. There will be hole, tissue will be lost, and leaf will become brittle, and this brittleness will ultimately resulting in the leaf fall. So for leaf health, magnesium is must. Then next we are moving toward the iron, which is having very important role in the human life also, as well as in plant also. In the plant, it is having a biological role as a component of electron transport chain. This electron transport system and oxidation enzymes are requiring iron as an iron complex, ferrodox, and iron sulfur complex, which is essential for ETS. It is having a very important role in production of ATP during the oxidative phosphorylation, and you know very well that ATP is currency of energy. So if iron deficiency is there, ultimately there will not be production of ATP, which is ultimately resulting in the deficiency of energy, where plant will not survive. It is activator of so many enzymes like ferredoxin, catalase or peroxidase, ferrichrome, hematine, lag hemoglobin, and so on. It regulates the synthesis of chlorophyll, that is very essential role. Now because it is involved in the energy production and the chlorophyll synthesis, their deficiency is extensive chlorosis. Immediately chlorophyll will be lost, and vein will remain green, but rest of the part will start losing, especially margin and tip part will be losing the iron and chlorophyll, one can see very well. Then resulting further will lead to the bleaching of leaf. Bleaching means it will lose green color. Then we are going for the specific role of copper. Copper is one of the important component of cytochrome oxidase, and the cytochrome oxidase is having very important role in the plant life. Further, it is important part of the plastocyanin. This part plastocyanin is playing major role in photosynthesis. It is found in ascorbic acid oxidase as one enzyme, and it is associated with phenolase also, right? Their deficiency is resulting into the retardation of growth because of their role in the photosynthesis. Ultimately, there will not be production of food and will result in the growth retardation. Burning of leaves at the margin, rotting, and chlorosis, one can see very well in the photograph. Then there will be poor development of grain. One can see if there is efficient amount of copper is there, there will be good, otherwise it will be poor formation of the seeds. Next we are moving toward is zinc. Now this zinc is having a biological role as a prosthetic group for so many enzymes. It is associated with carboxypeptidase enzyme, lactic dehydrogenase enzyme, alcohol dehydrogenase enzyme, RNA polymerases, alkyne phosphatase. So for enzyme activation or for enzyme as a prosthetic group, it is playing very important role. Further, it is involved in the metabolism of nitrogen. So zinc deficiency will ultimately resulting in the assimilation of nitrogen or deficiency of nitrogen. A kind of imbalance will be there in the nitrogen. For nitrogen, to avoid nitrogen deficiency, one should maintain the level of zinc also. Their deficiency symptoms is involving necrotic spot. One can see very well necrotic spot, vein chlorosis, and mottling of the leaves. Photographic representation. This photograph is showing everything which is essential. It is causing resetting disease in apple and citrus. Citrus, that is lemon, limbu in Gujarati. One can see that in the center there is sufficient zinc is there, so leaf is healthy. While you can see on both the side, because of the absence of or deficiency of zinc, there is poor growth of the leaf. Another disease which is caused by deficiency of zinc, it is little leaf disease. Means leaf will not grow further and leaf will remain very small, and little leaf will ultimately resulting in the poor photosynthesis. The next important one is the manganese. This manganese is symbolized by Mn. This manganese is having a very important role in the photosynthetic unit because it is bound with the Z protein. That Z protein, zinc protein, is one of the essential part of the photosynthesis. Further, it is helping, or it is playing major role in oxidation of water and releasing of the oxygen. Oxidation of water is very essential because whatever the hydrogen is produced with this one will be having a major role in the photosynthesis. So oxidation of water and ultimately whatever the oxygen we are getting is having a very important role of the manganese also. It is further acting as a cofactor in the enzyme production or enzyme activation with RNA polymerases, malic dehydrogenase, and hydroxyl aminase. The first one is essential for growth and reproduction, cell division. The second one is very important. Second and third is very important from the carbon metabolism. So these are the very important enzymes, and these important enzymes are having a cofactor as a amine, so it is very essential. It is involved in destruction of auxin. If it is not there, then auxin will not be destroyed, and if auxin is not destroyed, auxin will continuously allow the growth, which will be harmful to the plant, right? Then the next thing is the deficiency.